Welcome to another edition of Eye on the Issues. Today we are talking about Wyoming, of course, as we always do. But this time we're talking about the Teton County School District. And joining me now is Charlotte Reynolds. She is the communications director for the Teton County School District. Charlotte, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Let's begin by talking about your job as communications director. So what do you do?
My position includes a variety of aspects, including media liaison. So working with the press, working with the media to let our community know the issues that our district is working on, topics that we are focusing on, what we are doing to support and educate students in our community.
You know, it's been a challenging couple of years with COVID, everything with kids around the country and certainly in Wyoming. Let's begin by talking about what kind of challenges do you think your kids have faced in respect to everything from mental health to other things, and how do you think they're dealing with that? And are they kind of coming? A lot of students around the country, you went through a really tough, I would say, year and a half. Are they coming out of that now?
I really think they are. I think our district has put in a lot of safeguards, a lot of extra time, attention, and effort to supporting kids, recognizing that this truly has been an unprecedented time for all of us, what we've gone through over these last few years. And kids have experienced that in ways that we can't quite imagine. None of us had lived through a pandemic as a preschooler, as a kindergartner, as a middle schooler, or as a high schooler. So our students today have dealt with things that we as adults have had to deal with, but they're doing it in a way that we as adults didn't experience ourselves. So I think a lot of kids struggled. A lot of kids faced challenges that I don't think any of us anticipated. And a lot of kids, quite frankly, thrived. A lot of students did well in an online learning environment. A lot of students found unique ways to engage with peers and outside of what we would consider sort of a traditional classroom setting. That said, I don't think it can be overstated that it was a difficult time, both for students, I think, academically. They weren't receiving education in the same way that we were all used to delivering it. And so that created some challenges as we were all learning on the fly. But I think from a mental health standpoint, feelings of isolation, especially kids who maybe didn't have strong social networks prior to COVID, then feeling maybe more isolated. And so I do think this period of time has been a challenge, but I do think our kids, with the added supports that our schools have put in place, the added resources that have been dedicated, I think our kids are coming out on the other side of a unique period.
So let's talk about those added resources that are available to the kids. So let's say, lots of kids, as you said, dealt with isolation. What resources are there out there for kids that have been dealing with some challenges like that?
So our district has worked really closely with our local community partners, from our counseling center to other after-school programs, and really created even stronger partnerships with our community resources. We have also entered a partnership with something called the Cook Center, and they provide a variety of online courses and resources for parents to be able to, so that parents have the resources that they need so that they can support their students. We've done a lot of work with after-school programming, really expanded some of those offerings so that kids, after the bell, so kids have activities and things to do after school as a way to really engage with their peers outside of the normal school setting. So a lot of work in those areas.
And so give us an example of some of those after school opportunities for these kids.
There's a program called RAD, and they do everything from cooking classes to stargazing activities to recreational outdoor activities. So just trying to really find ways to engage kids to keep them active during those after school hours, which we've known all along are important to a young person's overall emotional and academic growth, but I think even more so in these last few years.
And so from a 10,000-foot standpoint, the talk to us about the mental health challenges besides isolationism, for example, that the kids have dealt with, and how the district has come together.
So I think we were very very concerned, and I think this was a national concern of higher suicide rates or suicide ideation. So really putting in extra or additional counseling supports at school, so kids have trusted adults that they can rely on. Really focusing on making sure that every student in our schools it reports that they have a trusted adult in that school, so that if something's happening or they're just having a bad day, that there's someone in the school that they feel a connection with, that they can go to and talk to. And like if just a bad day, a challenge with peers, that there are added resources out there to make sure all of our kids feel connection and feel those relationships, because relationships with trusted adults that's a huge indicator of academic success, but also social emotional well-being.
Yeah, and when kids are under stress, sometimes they reach out to things that they shouldn't. For example, drugs, maybe even vaping. Let's begin by talking about vaping. What have you seen in Teton County in respect to that, and what advice do you have for parents?
Vaping has become, as one of our nurses referred to it, as an epidemic following the pandemic. It is a significant concern for our community's youth. I think early on, people might have seen vaping as a safe alternative to smoking. And I think all health indicators clearly communicate that that is not the case. Vaping is not safe. It has significant health ramifications for kids. So we have really focused on trying to prevent kids from starting to vape. So talking to kids, as young as upper elementary and middle school, talking to them about the concerns, the health issues that are generated from vaping. And then for our older teens, our high school age kids, our Jackson Hole High School actually created a club called Lose the Views, led by one of our nurses, and really trying to get kids to talk to kids, peer to peer, students talking about their experience with vaping, why they started, how often they vape, and then for those kids who are ready to quit, why are you wanting to quit? And really encouraging those conversations. So our high school kids talking to middle school kids, really saying, don't start. I wish I hadn't, and here's why. When I am breathing and I can hear sort of a popcorny sound in my breath, when my lungs hurt and I'm a 17-year-old kid, I can taste blood in the back of my throat. I mean, these are pretty real experiences that some of our kids have had, and they're sharing those experiences with other students to communicate what this really looks like and feels like. And it's, I would say that there's not one segment of the student body that appears to have taken to vaping. It crosses all demographics, socioeconomic. It's hitting all kids, and making sure that parents are aware that it is a lot more common than I think maybe parents realize, and it's really a lot easier to get those products than maybe parents are aware. So I think we are encouraging parents to find out about vaping, find out about how kids are getting those items, and talk to your kids about not only the health concerns, obviously that is a critical piece, but then just how to make good choices, how to avoid getting yourself into a position where you feel pressured into trying a vape, because it is nicotine, it is addictive, and can get kids sort of hooked pretty quickly. So really encouraging parents to understand this is an issue and to talk to their kids.
And let's shift gears a little bit and talk about marijuana, which many people consider a gateway drug to other things. I guess vaping could be too as well. What kind of issues are you seeing with kids in respect in Teton County with students and with marijuana? Is that becoming an issue? Is it not?
I think, our community is known as a resort community, a vacation, community. And, for some folks, it's considered a party town. And helping our kids navigate what that looks like, whether it's vaping, whether it's drinking, or whatever drug, marijuana or otherwise, just helping our kids realize that you can make better choices for yourself and your long-term health and well-being, and that those sorts of activities really detract from where you're going into the future. And so really helping our kids access the supports and resources that they need to make good choices, to not go down that path to start with. But if they have, that isn't that doesn't mean that they can't make a different choice going forward. So you've made one bad choice, you've gone down one path, but you can correct course, and wanting to make sure that our students have the resources and supports around them so that they can make better choices going forward.
And your neighboring state, Colorado, of course, has had marijuana legalized both medicinally as well as recreationally for about a decade now. And I think if parents really wanted to do a little homework to find out, what impact it could have on kids, they could do a little bit of homework into Colorado, because that state's had some serious challenges. Many people looked at it like a cash cow, tax money coming in on the legalization of marijuana. And if you talk to some medical doctors, especially emergency room doctors over there, not so much. They're not so high on that. No pun intended.
We just want our kids to have good information so they can make the best choices for themselves, and that parents are aware of what's going on in not only our community, but other communities, and they can help their students navigate these really important issues and decisions that kids are making.
Now, if we can now, let's talk about some success stories and things that are going on in the district that are fantastic that we don't always hear about. Is there any kind of information you can share with us that you think parents might like to hear?
Absolutely. Our district is, we have a really dynamic student population. Our kids are involved in so many extracurricular activities at the high school level and the middle school level. And really, the number of kids who are participating in, whether it's football, soccer, lacrosse, dance, robotics, Model UN, Rotary Interact. I mean, our kids are really engaged and involved in school, And I think that if parents, I have a 17-year-old daughter at our high school, and I know what it's like to, you know, live with a teenager. And, there are days that you sort of look at them and think, gosh, how are we all going to get through this next 24-hour period? But all in all, I think if parents heard and saw what I think our teachers see and hear on a daily basis, there's a lot to be proud of. From an academic standpoint, extracurricular activities, volunteering in our community. I think our kids are really doing amazing things, and there's a lot to be proud of.
And I got to ask you this. So what do you like most about living in Wyoming?
Living in Wyoming, it is a unique place. It is a special place, and I'm not from here originally. I've been here for almost, about 25 years now. And there is something really special about a sense of community and traveling to other parts of the state. And it is not an exaggeration of, a small town with really long streets. I mean, running into people in other parts of the state. I was just traveling actually to Cheyenne for a state meeting, and stopped off at a cafe along the way to grab dinner to get back on the road, and literally ran into two different groups of people. One couple that I know from Du Bois, another couple from Jackson, who were both heading off in different directions. But I think that's what makes our state so special, is that you have those opportunities that just I'm not sure you get in other places.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I've never lived in Wyoming, but I've been there a lot, and I've lived in Colorado for many years on and off. So I just know how special Wyoming is, and I know every chance I get to go skiing there, I take it. So I will say that. So Charlotte, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Is there anything you want to add before we finish?
No, I just like to take the opportunity to say thanks for reaching out to us and inviting us to have a few minutes to talk about our district, and what an amazing group of professionals we have who work with our district, all in service of students and families. And so I appreciate that opportunity.
Absolutely. So if people want to learn more about what Wyoming Liberty Group does, just go to ywlyberty.org. Charlotte, thanks so much. Hopefully we'll talk again in the future about a different topic, but about your school district and the great state of Wyoming.
Thank you so much.